Oh, hey, I didn't even see you there. What are you doing in my room right now? Today, we've got to talk. We're going to talk more about some audio stuff. And I know. What about the next lens or the next camera or anything like that? Audio, as I've stated before, is extremely important to having good videos. And hopefully today, my audio is good. Today, I'm going to be recording with the on-camera mic I talked about last week, the little 400 from Sennheiser. I like it. I hope it sounds great, but we're going to get right into it. Today, we're going to be talking about something kind of cool. And since you are already peeping me on my little stand over here, no, we're not going to talk about this tiny little camera. That's my son's. Get that in focus there for you. Little fun camera. Maybe one day I'll do a video on this, but today we're going to be talking about something else. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Tascam X8. Now, of course, as I've stated, audio is important. If you have really bad audio, and again, hopefully this isn't bad, we're going to be redoing this video. If you've got really bad audio, nobody's going to want to watch your videos. At least people like me. If you're somebody that doesn't care, I applaud you. I'm glad you can get through a video that has bad audio, but that is simply not me. I appreciate good audio. Then, how good is the image? And more importantly, above all that, how good is the information? But when we're looking at it and we know we like the person, we like what they're talking about, how good is that audio so I can clearly and effectively understand what they're telling me? So again, hopefully this works out. Obviously, if I get a little closer and stare right into you, it's going to get better. But I'm going to stand about back here. I think we're good here. So I want to talk about this little guy today. This is what you would call basically your field recorder, so to speak. This is the Tascam Portacapture X8. And I didn't say that at the beginning because it's like I couldn't even read it. I don't know. It's kind of small on here. But anyways, it is, I believe, an 8-channel, up to 8-channel recording device, mostly because you have some stereo recorders up here. You've got 4 inputs on the side. These are combo jacks. We'll talk about those in just a moment. And then I think there's some line ins and stuff like that you could do. You could also run this straight out to your camera. It's a fantastic little device that is affordable. As of right now, I believe this is about $389, less than $400. And it has a lot of features that we're going to go over today. So to start off, one of the biggest things that everybody is going to ask, everybody wants to know, myself included before I bought this, because I didn't originally use this when I started any of my filmmaking, any of the wedding films that I do. This is a 32-bit recorder. So with this, you've got 32-bit float recording. And again, if you're unfamiliar with that means that you can essentially not clip your signal. And if you have a quiet source, you're able to raise those volumes and get them to an acceptable volume without raising the noise floor. And that's what I needed in this. Sometimes between the DJ or myself or just being real quick and not paying attention at a wedding, somebody is either talking way too loud or the signal's too loud, or there are people that are extremely quiet. Now, of course, the source that you're coming from, if that has a lot of noise, like especially if you're at a wedding and you've got a DJ setup that's going to have noise on it, then you're probably going to get some of that noise into your signal, and then it's not going to sound as good. But hopefully for most of you out there, you're getting some clean signals to this and you're able to get high quality audio at whatever volume they recorded at and be able to bring it up or down as needed. Another thing that I loved about this is it's got multiple inputs. So I started a podcast quite some time ago. So you've got 2 combo jacks here, which is very important, especially with wedding filmmaking. With that, I could do XLR or 1/4 inch, and then the same thing on the other side here. So with that, I don't have to really worry when I go to a wedding. In fact, this past weekend, I was at a wedding, and there were a few cases until we got inside, but outside, the DJ didn't have a setup that allowed for another XLR out. So what we did was we just took a 1/4 inch cable and we plugged it from his system into my system, and it worked out perfect. Another really cool feature about this that I like is it has a full color touchscreen on here. We'll get that in focus here for you guys. And it's something that just makes it much easier for the end user to use. A lot of people have issues with different buttons. What do they do? With this, I have troubles almost every time I use it. I don't use it often enough. I didn't even really deep dive into this when I got it, so that's why I want to talk about it today. So we have that opportunity. But I went through some of the menus. I made sure that 32-bit float recording was on. I made sure that if I needed like an auto gain or gain setting set, I set all of those. If I needed phantom power, where is that option to turn that on or off? Which again, this does have phantom power that I believe comes out of only the 2 inputs. I'll double check on that for you, put it down here for you. But you have the option to do that. And with this touchscreen, it's pretty easy to get through. Sometimes it's a bit confusing. Sometimes I click on a button that I think is where I want to go and it's not. But for the most part, you find your way around it. The fact that it's a nice colorful screen too, it just kind of screams, I've got some good stuff. You know what I mean? And it's an affordable piece of gear. And like I said, sometimes to most of us out there, we know we don't need something that is super crazy expensive. We don't need I can't even remember who makes it. Once again, I'll put something on the screen here for you, but it's a Mix Pre 4. I think I got a Mix Pre 6. It is the field recorder for most people out there. When you go to like a small production set or anything like that, or even a bigger film set, you're going to find people carrying those around. They look like actual interfaces from what I know as an interface. And then, it's this little rectangle unit. It's got multiple inputs, and apparently those are the best out there. That's what the bigger sets are using. I didn't need something like that. I didn't need to spend $1,200 or whatever dollars it costs just to get good quality audio. And that's where Tascam comes in. It's a trusted brand that's been around forever, and it's something that I knew back from a child. My dad used to play music, used to record on an old Tascam tape recorder. There's a lot of you out there that probably don't even know what tape is. The little cassette tapes, and he would be able to overdub and everything. And quite honestly, for somebody who had no idea what they're doing, and for something that wasn't very expensive, I think the quality came out pretty damn good. For something that's that old, I could still pop in one of those tapes, and it doesn't sound bad. And there's not a lot feeding into it that's good either. That's something that I really appreciate on this. It looks great. It looks cool. People are like, oh man, this guy's got a recorder here. I mean, he knows what he's doing. Do I? Yeah, for the most part. So anyways, really cool things there. Again, you do have the stereo recorders up top here. So what that does is it's more or less a backup if you need it. If you're doing like notes or something like that, you got this. You're jotting down ideas, really. That's what it's really for. It could get you by in a pinch if you need it, but these are not high quality microphones up top. In fact, they're complete plastic build. It's something that I was kind of not impressed with. I wasn't very happy about that. The original recorder I was using was the Zoom X4 HN4, something like that. And the microphones on top for that were like an all metal construction. They felt solid. They even sell like a non-stereo version that's just kind of one big capsule. It'd be something I would almost use a lot if this had it. They're kind of, again, cheap plastic. Even the screws to go in here are complete plastic. And then if I can get it out, also very hard to get out, but I'll see if that'll focus there. It's really small. Cover up my face. Let's cover up my face there. There we go. So you can see there, it's just this little like headphone 1/8" jack here going. And to me, it's not that great. I don't use them. I kind of keep them on literally so I don't lose them in case I ever want to sell this or in case I ever actually do need to use it. I keep them on here. I can't even get this thing to screw back on right now, but we'll move on. Some other awesome things about this is there's onboard DSP built into this if it's something you need. So you do have a limiter. I believe there is a compressor in here. You're able to kind of really use this as your kind of all-in-one recording solution if this is all you have. If you're stuck between getting something like maybe a Rodecaster Pro or something to that effect or any type of recorder, you're really trying to do some serious recording, this can do it for $400. I don't think that's bad. I have interfaces that cost more than that. I've had interfaces that cost way more than that. And this does it all. And it's got a lot of stuff on board for you. And so that's something that I very much appreciate. If it's something I want to use, I do sometimes turn on a limiter just so I can, even though it has 32-bit float, even though I've got the gain adjusted properly, I want to just make sure we're not cracking too high on the scale. Just in case the DJ or somebody kind of screws up, I want it bricked and I don't want it going any further than where I set it. Another cool feature about this is on the side with those connectors, you do have locking connectors. So you don't have to worry about somebody coming by and taking the cable out. Now, unfortunately, if they trip over the cable, this thing's going to go flying. It is a fear of mine with the touchscreen. Of course, if you are setting it somewhere that you're not going to be there for, make sure you hide it. Make sure you hide the cable. It's also respectful for the DJ. They come in, they set up, they want to make things look pretty. So it's best for you to either wrap that cable around the stand, tie it off on the stand, whatever you need to do, and then just tuck it somewhere. That's what I typically do. But just in case, the only way to get the cable out is by pushing that side there, so you don't really have to worry about it. It's something that I appreciate, and make sure that my cables are secured. This is secured. I'm not going to lose a connector because a cable accidentally got ripped out. This will remain very good for a very long time. And then let's try to get this wrapped up just a little bit, because I am trying my best not to make my videos 20 minutes long for every single video. For those of you who watch them, I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. For those of you out there that just want to know, is this the right recorder for me? Let me get through the couple things here real quick. So again, we talked about the onboard DSP. You've even got an auto gain feature, as I talked about, to where you don't have to really worry about it. You can kind of set it, forget it, move on. Some of the other cool things about this, you use a micro SD for it. I wish there was a full-size SD in there, but micro SDs are fairly cheap today, and you don't really need anything more than that to get audio recording. If we're talking about video, of course, I would recommend not using anything with a micro SD minus your drone. That's the only thing I'll ever use that for. There are some buttons on here. You can press it to get a hold function going on. So what that does is make sure that even if somebody comes by and starts tapping the screen, nothing's going to happen. And then also you've got some external outs to the camera. You've got a headphone out so you can monitor your audio. On the back here, if you guys can see it, there is a cold shoe mount and also a 1/4 thread. So if you want to mount this somewhere or you want to get it on your camera, you're able to do that just with a couple different connectors, and then your recording devices are with you. The last thing I want to talk about is something really, really cool that I figured out by doing these videos. I didn't want to use up all my batteries that I typically use for my weddings because, as we know, batteries are expensive. I've even tried rechargeables. I bought a set of Duracells. They're terrible. They won't even stay charged. The moment you take them off the charger, they're already down on juice. I have no idea what's going on there. If you know of good rechargeable batteries that aren't going to cost me an arm and a leg, like AA's, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I would greatly appreciate it because I have no idea. With this, though, I tried one day. I said, well, this has a USB-C port. Is it power delivery? And it's not noted on the side of this, but I decided to give it a shot anyways. Took the batteries out, hooked it up to a USB-C. I think it's my iPad charger. Perfectly fine, works completely great, which is fantastic. So if you do run out of batteries while you're on set somewhere, but you do have something that will deliver power over USB-C, then you're set. You've got audio and you're good to go. Something I really, really liked about that. Now, outside of some of these kind of quirky menus, this is one here. This is just simply for kind of leveling here. My apologies, the light is showing pretty bad on there. There we go. So you've got some cool things going on there. You're able to set your levels. You're able to go through on that. Hold is on, so I can't even switch levels here. And then you've got a home that I typically live on. This kind of has your metering. Hold is on again somehow. I'm not even recording. And then you're able to meter and see exactly where you're at with your levels. You're able to see how long you're recording for, what's going on there. And then your last one is your input. This is where you would turn on like your phantom power, adjust your gain, adjust which input you want turned on. So if you have multiple things plugged in, but you only want input 3 on, or for me, I disable the ones up top so I don't get a bunch of different recordings that are in there and have to figure out which one is which. I just leave it on 3. I have one input typically for me. The only issue that I've had with this is recently, and I haven't done any firmware updates on this whatsoever, but typically to start, there's a little record button down there at the bottom. You have a level adjuster here, and you have a stop, over here, you have a stop button. So typically what I do is I hit record, I put it on hold, I let it go for the day, and then at the end of the day, I come, turn off the hold, hit stop, recording's done. For some reason, this has now changed itself, and I don't know if I changed the setting on accident or what. I cannot find anything in the menus. You have to basically arm this to record. So you'll hit the record button, and then you hit record again to actually get it to start going. That's one issue I've had. It's kind of annoying, but luckily, my second shooter was just pressing buttons, figured it out while we were literally about to start a ceremony at a wedding. It was terrifying. I wasn't convinced I was going to get the best audio off the lavs that I had. I could not mic up the officiant. I had to only mic up the groom, and I needed backup audio as quickly as possible. Luckily, we figured that out. The other issue I was having was I was trying to test out the audio and get a good listen for it. How is this mic going to work with my setup? Is it going to be good? And for some reason, it wasn't showing me any levels. The only time I got any type of levels is by hitting that record button. Maybe that's why I need to hit it a second time so I can arm the record. I'm using this like using a DAW setup, digital audio workstation. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, basically that is what people use to record music or composing, anything like that. I'm familiar with arming something so you can actually get a level set so you're not accidentally somebody strumming on a guitar or something and you're blowing out your ears because you've got your levels wild or you don't have your buffer set right. I digress. Maybe that's what's going on here, but I don't remember ever having that issue before. I've had this for probably close to 6 months now, maybe a little longer, maybe closer to 8 months, and I've never had that issue. I didn't have it with my Zoom, but for some reason, that's what it is here. Again, maybe a good thing, so you can check everything before you waste time recording. You got super blown out audio that you now got to delete and worry about later. I don't know what it is. Again, kind of annoying, but just as a word of advice, hit record twice. That's when you actually start recording. Arm everything by hitting the record button, and you'll be able to hear your levels, test it out. But overall, because of the audio quality you get, the ease of use with the touchscreen, the buttons that are clearly labeled on what you're doing, you've got a stop, the record, play, pause, and then your kind of scroll wheel, which can help you go through menus. It can help you be able to turn levels up and down so that way you don't have to use the touchscreen. I know some people aren't fans of touchscreens all the time. We already deal with them with our phones. Why do I want to deal with it for this? This is a professional audio device. Why does it have a touchscreen on it? Because we like it. Now, of course, this will feel a little different today. I'm looking at my monitor now. I'm standing up, and it feels weird, but I think, one, energy, hopefully I've been good for those of you who have stuck around through all my videos. Hopefully the energy's been good. I thought this would get me a little bit more motivated, really kind of test out this autofocus too, because we do have the upgrades on this. If you guys want a video about the S5 II autofocus and any of the firmware updates, let me know down in the comments down below. There are a ton of videos out there though that are fantastic, so it's up to you guys. If you guys like me, I definitely appreciate it. Anybody that has stopped by, watched my videos, liked, subscribed, I appreciate you. I hope you guys all have a fantastic weekend. Got another wedding coming up, and then hopefully some more videos to come. I don't even know what's next, but there are plenty of things I still have to talk about that I love talking about. I'm a gearhead. I hope you guys are too, because this is fun for me. I appreciate everybody. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.